Let's just focus on to this now. There's been a lot of attention focused recently on health and safety regulations. High-profile incidents have prompted the Department of Labour to call for more serious fines to deal with companies that do not comply. In addition, some 40% of companies are not registered with the Compensation for Occupational Injuries or Diseases Fund, and those who are registered have complained about claiming. Let's find out more about this now. I'm joined in studio by Gareth Beaver, CEO of Stalker Hutchinson Admiral. Thank you very much, Gareth, for your time. I think before we get into the why companies don't comply, what essentially are we talking about when we talk about the Compensation for Occupational Injuries or Diseases Fund?
So that was a fund been established by government, essentially to collect money from employers who employ people, and it's there to provide benefits to defray medical expenses, typically when employees get injured whilst at work. So it's got good intent.
Good intent, but 40% of companies not complying. What is that?
Yeah, so that was pretty startling, I think. We didn't go behind the reasons for that level of non-compliance. I think it's probably, we suspect it's a combination of factors, maybe some lack of awareness and knowledge around sort of the need to register and comply. There's probably a degree of sort of, resentment from particularly small businesses who don't feel that they're going to get value. They understand, and maybe through previous experiences, that it's very difficult or has been difficult to claim back from the fund. It is quite a labour and paperwork extensive process. So there could be a perception that there's no value in parting with that money. So it's a combination of reasons for that. But certainly it is worrying, and given that it's a legal requirement.
Right. It is a legal requirement. So what can companies do, if anything at all?
Yeah, so I mean, I think, certainly they need to get themselves compliant because, they could face, directors and officers could face sort of severe fines, the companies themselves, severe fines, penalties, and even jail time in a worst case scenario. But I think most importantly, it's about looking after your employees. And, a workplace injury is traumatic for the victims and their families. And if you add to that then the financial implications on top of that, becomes even more disastrous. So, the need to provide financial protection to sort of cushion the effect of a traumatic workplace injury is very, very necessary. Yes. Yeah.
What kind of injuries are covered here? Are there any exclusions?
Basically not. I mean, essentially any injury or even disease that is specifically related to doing your job. So there's no exclusions. Of course, there's always the potential sort of concern around a manufactured claim or a fraudulent claim. So someone has an existing condition, a disease that they had before they came to the workplace. And those are the kind of things that obviously would need to be sifted out in a claims submission process. But yeah, there's no real exclusion. If it's an injury or disease related to doing your job, then it's covered. So it could be, a loss of a limb, loss of eyesight, severe head injuries, etc. I mean, all sorts of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Just before we got into this conversation, we brought our views, the story on the Civitas building, and employees saying that they'd rather work from the foyer. Any thoughts on unsafe buildings?
Sure. So, I mean, that's there are definite health and safety standards under the Occupational Health and Safety Act in terms of where, again, employers are expected to maintain a healthy and safe working place. So, whether that's, keeping your fire escapes free of any clutter, etc., ensuring that your employees all know of the emergency procedures to evacuate a building, obviously building safety standards, and then you get into the really technical areas of manufacturing and sort of, furnaces and mines, etc. And of course, they have very rigorous sort of health and safety standards imposed upon them, and that's all in an effort to create a safe place and mitigate the probability of having a workplace injury. The compensation fund obviously comes in, and then specialist insurance products come in that if something slips through the cracks and you still have an injury, because accidents do happen, even after you've made your best effort to prevent them, then the financial sort of impact is managed much more effectively.
And that leads to my next question. Is it worth maybe companies getting additional cover or additional insurance?
Absolutely, yes, no doubt. The compensation fund, COID, is obviously aimed at a very sort of, low level. So it's got sort of broad-based cover for everyone, but it's got a maximum sort of payout. It doesn't have an unlimited sort of benefits. So it's at a fairly basic level. I think the total sort of benefit that one could get back is capped at around about 280,000 rands. So and of course that doesn't go really far. If you've had a serious injury and you have serious ongoing medical expenses. And that's where a specialist insurance product, accident and health product, can offer a far more extensive cover. The other important issue is that it's not only the cost of treating an injury, which could be significant, but the bigger impact often is the loss of earnings, where a breadwinner is paralyzed and not able to work ever again. And, so that loss of earnings could be a significant cost, a significant financial impact to their family. And that's where, and the COID doesn't provide for any kind of loss of earnings.
Right.
Or even the death of a breadwinner. So that's where your specialist product comes in. I think, again, some of the added benefits of a specialist insurance product could be that, for instance, we give access to expert company that actually will handle your COID claim. These guys, they do it on a day-to-day basis, so they know the ins and the outs of claiming, the exact right forms to fill them in, who to talk to, so they can really speed up, the COID claim, again, for the benefit of the employer and his employees.
Thank you very much for coming through to chat to us more about that. Sure. Gareth Beaver, CEO of Stalker Hutchison Admiral Underwriters. Audit firm